Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
RoadToRoota.com. It is, what is it, July 30th. We are tick-tocking our way to the end of silver price manipulation, I believe. Will they slam it down to zero or minus $40 before they let it be freely traded? I have no idea. And nor do you. Probably nor do they. So I would highly suggest getting physical silver in your own possession and wait out the insanity of what is literally looming right ahead. This is the 60-day chart of gold versus silver. Silver has been smashed, of course. It's so much more important than gold. Silver is so much more important than gold. Just think about it. I mean, just common sense tells you who's got all the gold? The banks. Who's got all the silver? Nobody. The solar panel manufacturers who are putting it everywhere on the planet. Very few people have silver at all. I did see that Warren Buffett had almost $200 billion in cash. My suggestion for Warren, as a final and a tribute to his father, put it all in silver. Buy every last ounce, because the price won't go up over $30, $35, even though there'll be no silver left. That's how the game is run on the derivative market. Then you can just walk away. Warren, listen, your father wanted this done before you pass on. So try to get that money, $300 billion, into physical silver and take delivery and watch the squirming criminals who have controlled our country. That's my advice for like the richest man in the world, one of the richest men in the world. All right, interesting. This is what has been going on with the gold-silver ratio. We were doing great in silver on the gold-silver ratio. Silver was performing much better than gold, and it pissed off the riggers. So it went from 73 to 1 back up to 86 to 1. Again, anything over 80 is historically a swap territory. Swap your gold for silver. Every ounce of gold you have, you should have swapped for silver by now. Yes, it hasn't worked out so great over the past 30, 40, 50 years. But that's only because the markets are so rigged, so embarrassingly rigged, especially in silver. There is so much more gold than what they're telling you. What Jeffrey Christian says there's a little over 200,000 tons? That's ridiculous. If you don't understand that, read this book. I read this. I remember it came out, I think it came out in 2003 originally. It's called Gold Warriors, America's Secret Recovery of Yamashita's Gold, about how it literally went tick by tick, how the U.S. Intelligence agencies got a hold of over 300,000 tons of gold just in the Philippines, hidden in, I think it's close to 80 different caves within the Philippines at the end of World War II. Go check it out. Read that book. Listen to it on, I think it's on Audible. Or read it, buy the book. And then I think you can still get your hands on the CD, ROM, discs. There's like 3 or 4 of them with all the documentation you need. I mean, Sterling and Peggy Segrave literally spent their whole lives researching this to the T. It is 100% real. I remember when it came out because I was writing for GATA, and all the GATA guys were like, no, this is ridiculous. That's so dumb. That can't be. It can't be. It can't be. And I'm like, well, you guys didn't even read the book. You didn't look at the documents. And that was like one of the reasons I left GATA was just the lack of ability to open their mind that whatever you've been told so far is probably a lie. And the amount of gold on the planet is a massive lie. And I found it out so many different ways, including this. This was kind of my entry to say, oh my God, the stats. I mean, these stats are worse than the CPI stats or the labor stats or anything the government puts out, because this is done not by the government. It's done by criminals like the World Gold Council and Jeffrey Christian, who really can't fathom allowing the people to know the truth. There are literally millions of tons of gold available above ground. It's kind of like diamonds. The De Beers family, their diamonds are everywhere. But De Beers got this stranglehold on the supply, so they, were able to control the price. And then they had it turned into, oh, you don't love your wife unless you spend $10,000 on a diamond. It's just the insanity of the whole game. So yeah, if you have gold, swap it for silver. Go to your local coin shop with your gold ounces and swap it for physical silver. If you don't have a local guy, contact Andy Schectman at Miles Franklin. Send them an email, info@milesfranklin.com. They will swap your gold for silver and take possession of it. So important. And there's much more. After I found this, I found a lot more stories and then research, especially gold in the Grand Canyon, in the banks of the Colorado River. Billions and billions of ounces were found right before they created the Fed back in 1913. Billions and billions of ounces. The world didn't even have, it had like 300 million ounces back then in monetary gold and in the whole world. And here's the United States finding billions and billions of ounces. And then Woodrow Wilson locked it all up in a national park. And you can't take a pebble out of the Grand Canyon. And it's placer gold, so it's in little tiny specks. And I had a big debate with this guy about it, and Steve St. Angelo. And I'm like, dude, do your homework. Do your homework. It's there. It's just not economic to mine. Why isn't it economic to mine? Because back then they were controlling the price of gold. The price of gold was set at like $19 and something cents. And it was costing $20 to get it out, so it didn't make sense to do it. Only like a few people made money, but everybody knew it was there. And it was a huge political hot potato. Anyway, check out my research on the gold in the Grand Canyon. And that's not to count, that's not even going down the conspiracy lane, which I love to go down anyway. Kincaid's Cave. Was there gold in Kincaid's Cave? Absolutely. So go check it out. And there are a lot of other gold mysteries to be discovered. All you got to know is the banks are lying to you because they own all the gold. Of course they're going to lie to you. Whereas silver, they're lying to you in the opposite direction. There isn't any silver. The reality of today's silver market, photovoltaics are going to sop up 600 million ounces this year. You heard it here first. But Bix, that would take so much more solar panels being put in. Yes, they are being put in. And oh, by the way, these aren't regular solar panels they're putting in anymore. They aren't PERC solar panels. They're TopCon that uses at least 50% more silver. So if silver is going to go up 50% this year, solar installations of 50% this year, that means what? 75% more silver than was used last year, which we were lied to anyway, right? On the road to Ruta, if you've been with us for more than since the beginning of the year, that's been the big thing. It's still the very first thing I have on my website, roadtoruta.com, is the solar situation that every one of those red boxes is a lie. They changed the old numbers. This is the Silver Institute and Metals Focus. The actual number, just going off the 76% growth of solar panels from 2022 to 2023, it should be at least 387 million ounces. Now we got another 50% growth in solar installations, plus kick on 50% more silver being used. You're getting close to 600 million ounces of silver. But Bix, there's not that much silver in the world. I know. That's why this thing is going to completely break apart. How many ounces of silver are there in SLV? We have no idea. Who controls SLV? The two largest criminal companies in the world, BlackRock and JP Morgan Chase. JP Morgan Chase is Jamie Dimon's the schmo that actually counts the silver. It's so insane. They count silver lease contracts as SLV silver. I'll guarantee you. Well, we have a lease contract. It's going to be coming back. Yeah, if somebody stays in business, how many times has it been resold now? So that's what's going on. Interesting. Here is a story, The Mystery of Argentina's Gold. Milei admits that it was transferred abroad without specifying the quantities or destination. Yes, there is a lot of conspiracies in gold. Anybody who doesn't think that, come on, wake up. There's conspiracies everywhere. Most conspiracies now, people are finding out the real big ones are actually true. Don't you wish you had known the Enron conspiracy before you actually invested in it? Don't you would have known the Bernie Madoff conspiracy before you actually would have invested? By the way, Enron, Bernie Madoff, Jeffrey Epstein, all run by JP Morgan Chase. All those cons run by JP Morgan Chase. How that company is still in business, I have no idea. Yeah, I do. They control people through probably blackmail. Don't quote me on that. Jamie might come after me. Anyway, read Gold Warriors. Understand there's a hell of a lot more silver. A hell of a lot more gold than there is silver. My guess is probably about 2 million tons of gold, which is 10 times what they tell you. And silver, they're saying there's 4 billion ounces. Nah, I don't think so. I don't buy it. Probably half of that. That could go in an instant. That's not a lot of money. Warren Buffett, hey, you've already bought 1 year. He bought over, I think it was over 1 year in the late 90s. He bought 130 million ounces of silver, physical silver, trying to fulfill his dad's wishes. His dad wanted to go back to a gold and silver standard. Absolutely, he was a hard money guy. Read what Howard Buffett spoke about in the halls of Congress way back in the 40s. Absolutely. And who was Warren Buffett's hero? His father. Buffett is definitely a good guy, and he knows that if he uses $200 million to buy every ounce of silver that's left, it's game over for the criminal cabal. Will he do it? I don't know. If he does it, he'll do it on the sly. So, might not even know about it. Big goings on. We have today is the last day of trading on the COMEX for the July contract, and then the August contract starts up. Let's see. Starts trading tomorrow. First delivery day is August 1st. It's not going to be big because it's not a delivery month. We can see how big it is. You go to the open interest for silver, which has been wheedled down over the last couple days, and now it's hardly anything. 800. What is that? Let's do some calculations. I think it's 4 million ounces, but 12 times 5,000. 410,000 ounces of silver. It's hardly anything. Of course, we know that people buy silver mid-month and take delivery that day, which you can do, by the way. So, no, August is not a delivery month, but if you're looking at September, it's over 100,000, which is 107,817 times 5,000. That's 539 million ounces on the September contract. Will it still be there the day of delivery? Of course not. How much will go over to England for the LBMA to deliver there? I don't know. Let's take a look what Harvey Organ's saying it is July. July's not even done, and they're already over 100 million ounces. 108.87 million ounces were exchanged for physical. Take a COMEX contract, send it over to London for the real stuff, for the delivery. As I've talked about, we're looking at probably the largest exchange for physical year ever going on at this pace. The pace will get us somewhere around 1.5 billion ounces to be delivered. Love it. Where's it all going? It's all going to India and mainly China. Why, Bix? Why is it going to India and China? There we go. Wind and solar generation exceeds fossil fuels for the first time in 2024. Germany's solar power generation surges to a fresh record. U.S. Bureau of Land Management advances 6.2 gigawatts of solar projects. It is not stopping. It is a constant need for physical silver for the photovoltaic to save the world. Save the world. And while you're doing it, you can destroy J.P. Morgan Chase and friends. HSBC, you can destroy them by saving the world and putting solar panels everywhere. Consumer-sided solar could hit, this is just the consumer, 1.2 terawatts in 2050. It can't, at least not with silver in the technology. Now, they can take silver out of solar panels, but they're not going to do it at sub $30. They won't do it at sub $50. I don't think they'll do it at sub $100 silver because they don't need to. It's not that big of the cost. There's other costs that are bigger. Silver is used in very tiny, minute bits in solar. Tiny, tiny. They literally make it into, they turn it into a paste and then spray it on in a little thin line. That's why it's so hard to recycle all this silver that's sitting in solar panels. Solar recycling won't really kick in until about $1,000 silver is my estimate. And then people will start pulling their silver off their roofs. It is crazy out there. But solar is absolutely, we're going to do 600 gigawatts this year. Go back to this. 600 gig. We did 443 last year. We're going to do 600. All these old, this is the Bloomberg NEF. That's their, Jenny Chase runs that department at Bloomberg. They're the closest to what really goes on in solar. And they were saying 551 from 443 gigawatts last year to 551 this year, and they've already upped it to 585. They will up it over 600 gigawatts installation for, it's already in the books. It's literally already planned and being installed right now. So it's not going to change unless something drastic happens. Like, the whole economy melts down and everything's gone. If it's not, they're going to do over 600 gigawatts. And 600 gigawatts will get us just about 600 million ounces of physical silver with the new TopCon. No, they won't tell you that. Of course they won't tell you. They lie, cheat, and steal. I mean, this is the biggest joke ever. First of all, they changed these numbers, but 190, and I was screaming at these guys at Metals Focus and at the Silver Institute. I've talked to the heads of both those companies, and I'm like, hey, we got a problem. You guys, you're really behind the eight ball on what's going on in silver and solar, and it's going to be up, 75% this year, and you guys, how are you going to tell the world that the amount of silver used increased 75%? They said, well, you haven't seen our numbers yet. And here's their number is 193 million ounces, but they changed the 118. They changed the 118 so that it didn't look as bad. But it is bad. It's really 387. And oh, by the way, this year will even be more percentage-wise. So 55% growth in solar, a lot more TopCon, probably 80%, 75 to 80% TopCon this year, which uses 50% more silver. That's what's getting us near 600 million ounces. At one of these days, the game's going to be completely over. Probably before the election is what I'm thinking. All right. That's what I got for you today. Join the private Road to Ruta. Get all the behind-the-scenes info. Lots of great stuff back there. And we will send you a Theta wallet, paper Theta wallet filled with 10 Theta, 100 Theta fuel, and 1,000 T-drop. Yes, you do need some cryptos for the future. And I think Theta and what Theta is doing with AI, with expanding broadband, expanding storage capabilities, it's unbelievable. Not to mention all the content delivery network, why it was invented. You're going to stop seeing those little circles going around on your Netflix and stuff like that when Theta fully gets implemented, which should be September 22nd when they release the Theta Edge node for mobile devices on Android It's over 2 billion, 3 billion people will have the ability to run the device, share their broadband capabilities, share their storage capabilities safely, share their computing capabilities with AI safely, and earn T-Fuel in the meantime just for running an edge node behind the scenes on your phone. I know, crazy. Anyway, go to roadtour.com. Join today. I'll talk to you later.